Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are starting this Friday's Functional Friday a little bit later than we'd like to. We actually had this scheduled at 10:30 this morning due to my own technical difficulties and challenges. We had to move it back. Christina was obviously easy to accommodate. So we have it going here. Let me go ahead and introduce you. Dr. Christina Robbins is with RevitaLife Wellness, and she will be one of our panel speakers at the Healthy Hour and the New Vision Tour collaboration on September 18th here in the Rock Hill, Kirkwood area. Tickets are still on sale. I believe we are more than halfway sold out on that event. And there are a couple of other things coming up here in the next week that will most likely make sure that that is a sold out event. So if you don't have your tickets, you want to make sure that you get those tickets because it's a rarity that we're able to bring doctors and patients into the same room together, having conversations about something that I think is bothering all of us right now, and that's healthcare. Am I wrong in saying that?
You are correct.
Why don't you take a couple of minutes and just kind of introduce yourself, what you do, and who you.
So I'm a medical doctor, a physician here in St. Louis, actually in Creve Coeur, where I'm in the 777 building, and I opened this practice about 6 years ago with kind of a vision of taking the traditional medicine and integrating it, of course, with functional medicine to do what we call integrative care. Started just myself.
Can you explain real briefly what integrative and functional medicine is different or how it is different from medical?
Traditional. Yeah, sure. So functional medicine, we kind of call root cause medicine. So we say, like for instance, your irritable bowel syndrome is really not just irritable bowel. It has an underlying physiologic functional issue. So is it your food intolerance of gluten or of dairy that then creates what we call intestinal permeability issues, which is pain, and then also mixed in diarrhea, constipation, and then of course nutritional deficiencies come from that. And then we set off the allergic cascade, and even so far as the autoimmune cascade. So that is just one example of functional medicine. Okay, so we say, don't just take that hyoscyamine, let's back it up and figure out where this is coming from. Okay, integrative is just taking the best of both worlds. Okay, so is what I consider it. So in traditional medicine, we would say, yes, let's go look at your blood work for your hormones and for all this other thing, but let's take it a step, deeper than that over here in functional medicine world and put the two together. So traditional medicine say you have IBS. We want to say, no, let's go look, investigate it more, and come up with a different treatment plan, taking the best of both worlds. So that's you're one example of it.
And you're a traditional MD, meaning that that's what we're all used to. Majority of Americans are used to an MD. And if I'm having, let's just keep on that path of irritable bowel syndrome. I have irritable bowel syndrome, or I'm having lots of stomach and cramping and pain, and I'm having irregular bowel movements. I come in to see a regular MD. How is a traditional MD going to treat me?
A primary care doctor is going to do kind of that workup, which is asking a lot of questions. Try maybe something like hyoscyamine, which is an antispasmodic medication, but then also maybe send you to a gastroenterologist who would evaluate by doing a colonoscopy or a upper endoscopy to say, well, your structure of the colon and the upper gastric system is normal. So I don't know what's going on or why you have that. Keep taking that little antispasmodic medicine. Bye-bye.
Okay. So, and in traditional healthcare, we're used to, if I have health insurance, I'm taking my health insurance in, I'm going to have a copay. I might have some other fees associated with it, depending on how insurance is taken care of.
Right.
But in the end, all I'm getting out of that is a prescription for a medication to take, hoping that it eases my pain. But that's kind of where it ends, correct?
Yes, possibly. Traditional medicine is also very good at the standard of care. Obviously, obviously that's a not a bad thing. We still do that. We just say, okay, the standard of care is to at least rule out a cancer or, a heart attack or, something acute or life-threatening. But the step after that is sometimes where it gets lost in translation. And then it's like, well, you're not going to, die from this. Good luck. And so that's where a lot of us are like, well, I paid my copay. What else do I get?
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, I got to go. 15 minutes is up. I'm moving on, right?
Right. So part of why I wanted to bring you in on this interview, or I wanted to bring in one of the doctors that's going to be on the panel, is because we're really going to be discussing where we are in our healthcare system today and kind of where the movement is heading to. Yes. Where do you foresee the movement heading towards?
Well, it's interesting in my journey because I started off traditional family medicine, then went into a little bit of a concierge model, and then ended up kind of transforming into this model and started this 6 years ago. And I took insurance. When I opened this up. I took all the commercial payers, took them all. I worked with insurance companies, and I worked at that for almost 4 years. And then they were auditing me daily. I was getting phone calls from the insurance, Blue Cross, United Healthcare ended up kicking me out because all these insurance companies didn't like that I was doing additional blood testing on people because I was going above and beyond the standard 3 tests. They didn't like that I was spending more time with them and reviewing diet and doing some additional cardiac testing on people that could save their life. I mean, they didn't like that I was going above that traditional old school model where I didn't spend hardly any money or time with that patient. Okay. So I started getting auditing. I'd have to send off charts. I'd get phone calls. And so I got kicked out of several because they said I wasn't doing their thing that they wanted. And then the rest of them I pulled out of because they weren't paying me anymore.
So would you say that you felt like you were working more for the insurance companies than for the patients?
Definitely.
You were in that.
Definitely. I still had to chart for the insurance company. I still spent a lot of time doing additional charting in the electronic record and, dotting my, crossing my T's, dot my I's, make it all look perfect so that if they wanted to look at something, it was still perfect in their views, even though the patient didn't know that and didn't understand that, and it wasn't helping them at all.
Right.
So, yes, that.
And because I'm not a doctor, and I think a lot of people are kind of unsure, they maybe see those hospital bills that come through, right, or their medical bills that come through. Are you negotiating, or are the insurance companies negotiating prices with you? And how are you making money as a doctor?
Right. So being a small entity, I was kind of hosed. Okay. So Mercy can go and sue these big companies and say, okay, we want to get paid this per cardiac cath and this per office visit and this, and those Anthem and Uniteds have to, they'll play ball with them. Okay. Because they're a big entity. They got a lot of, 2,000 doctors, all these patients. Then there's me going with my contract, and they're like, oh no, we're not going to play, but you're going to take what we give you and say thank you. And so what they were giving me was not even enough to survive because I was only getting paid. I really only get paid per office visit.
Yeah.
I'm not a surgeon. I can't do cardiac caths. I can't do procedures because of course that's where the money is at. They would, here we go back to the whole preventative care and root cause medicine because for the system, right, you make a lot more money getting a cardiac cath for $2,000 than an office visit where you get $15, right?
Right. Let me ask you this. Why did you want to become a doctor?
Yeah, good question. I think, honestly, just kind of in high school, I started volunteering in a local hospital, and I really just loved the interaction with patients and the ability to really, of course, change somebody's life and just create a difference in that. And that interaction was so kind of enthralling to me that I was like, I could do this forever. And that's why I picked family medicine, because that's really about connecting with people. Yeah. And now that a lot of these doctors have been stuck into these big hospital systems and have to crank people through, and really you're right about writing prescriptions and whatever, there's not that connection anymore. And
Yeah.
we all know that's what we all need and what we desire. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So the way I like to explain functional and integrative medicine and the healthcare system or health insurance is not much different than a vehicle. We can't drive in our car without having insurance, or legally we can't drive in our car without having insurance. That insurance is there in case you get into an accident, or in case somebody gets injured, or whatever it is. It is not there to pay for your oil changes, your tire replacements, the regular upkeep that it takes in a vehicle. So when it comes to a car, we're used to that. Insurance is there in case we can't afford something and something happens to us that is out of our hands or out of our control. In healthcare, we have created a mindset that is our health insurance is supposed to take care of every little thing and fix us along the way.
Yes.
Is this, how do we start talking about changing that belief, and how do we start changing that mentality? Because that's not really what health insurance is for.
Right. And I think, as the big industry of the insurance companies came in 10, 15 years ago, well, even longer than that, but really became more prevalent as the PPO, HMO, and the co-pays became an issue, we did lose sight of the way it used to be with insurance, where you did pay your office visit you go, and you almost had more catastrophic coverage in the 70s and 80s, 1980s. And then it kind of morphed from there. So, and the bigger problem now too is that we're all paying so much on these premiums that we expect more from them. So we really need, that model where we say, okay, let's reduce your monthly premium to, more reasonable cost, but yes, you're going to have to pay more of that out-of-pocket cost as you go. Now, as we do that, we have to make more transparency, though, in the healthcare system. Most places you call them up, well, how much would it cost me for that x-ray? And they're like, we don't know. You just got to come in and get it. We'll bill you later. That's a horrible system. How can anybody know what they're going to need to pay or be charged if people don't even know what to tell you when you call to ask for a price? So
yeah, because if we're taking our car in, we're going to want to have it looked at, and we're going to want a quote before we commit to it. And they may say it's going to cost you $100 for us to look at it, but that's a reasonable amount to pay.
That's right.
It's a little bit more transparent. So we're more transparent when it comes to our vehicles, and when it comes to taking care or making a payment anyplace else. There is no transparency when it comes to our health, and when it comes to the medical side of things and insurance. And I think we're all in the same boat. We're all frustrated. We know that there needs to be a change, and we know that there has to be something better out there. So currently you have your own practice and you don't take insurance. So how does that look? So now you are a business owner in addition to it, right?
So it's very freeing, I'll tell you that, to be able to really try to figure out what is this worth, right? Because you're really a service provider, okay? So my model is that it's almost kind of a pay-as-you-go model. I don't do a monthly fee structure like a lot of concierge doctors, because that's not really how we work. We tend to say, okay, well, we're going to do a visit here and here, a new patient, a follow-up, this will be this much each time kind of thing. And so we can really structure it that way. And that way all the labs are still submitted to insurance, all the medications are still through insurance. So it's really just office visit structures that we do, or packages even, where we're just saying, okay, well, let's do your injection of this and this visit and whatever, and it'll be, this amount of money. But yeah, it's very transparent. We're very upfront with cost, and people like that. They just want to know. They want to know. Because then we can budget it. We can do, financing. We can do all kinds of stuff at that point. And especially labs can be expensive, but we even have a cash lab place so that you're blood count test is $2, not $200. Okay, that the insurance charge would be.
I was going to say, I think that that's the other thing that is a misconception out there, is that because we're so used to insurance and seeing how the billing comes through on insurance, we think that if we have to pay cash
that's right.
for lab work, that's how much it's going to cost. And the reality is that the doctors like yourself are out there negotiating the terms. And you're fighting for the rights for these patients, knowing that their health is more important. You're not really making any money off of that lab whatsoever. Your money is coming from the time and the talent and the knowledge that you have sitting in your office and connecting with someone.
Because that's the right thing to do, is to not skim on labs or something like that, but to really say, okay, this is the product. You know, we're kind of saying we're going to help you through this journey. We're the experts, whatever. You know, the labs, if you've got commercial insurance, we'll totally bill them through that if you want. But the most you'll pay even from there is this. But yes, the EOBs we all get, the explanation of benefits that comes from the insurance companies, those are scary, you know, and we get phone calls, you know, it's like, no, that's not a bill. It'll, you know, come way down. But you're right. That's what we all think would happen, you know, and we all think, oh my gosh, we can't have, you know, without insurance or we have to have this low deductible, because what if we don't have that? We've got to pay all this money. That's not true at all. We can negotiate through labs, through meds, through all kinds of stuff. So
let's talk a little bit about September 18th. James Maskell is coming in, the New Vision Tour. Do you know much about the New Vision Tour? Do you know even what you're coming to that day?
Well, I've been researching.
I was going to say, Kristen with Slim seems to understand all of it.
She knows it all. She is the expert of all. So I've been watching him like go through all these cities, and I just kept seeing these emails, and I was so disappointed. I was like, oh no, St. Louis. And then like she comes in and she's like, he's coming. I'm like, what? So it's pretty cool, because I've been watching his tour go on and watching the functional forum, of course, for years. It's been out. And I was very excited when she said he's coming. So I did understand kind of what he's all about. And I'm very, very interested to see, of course, as he kind of promotes this new insurance product for wellness, that he's going to kind of be talking about what that looks like, because there is the other markets out there, the co-op market,
the shared plans,
shared plans that are out there. The Christian one is the one I've seen the most, I think. But yeah, those are really exciting to say, okay, yes, this is something you can be a part of. You can still, you know, you'll pay a monthly fee, but it won't be crazy. It'll be something you can use for the providers that you want to use. And you still are, you know, covered under the insurance product world for the tax. You don't get the tax hit. So,
because somebody like myself, I have, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. We self-insure ourselves. We have no major health issues whatsoever. It really is mostly for an emergency kind of a situation. So I am paying a very high premium.
Very high.
As a family, I don't have a lot of extra then to put into, or if I am putting extra into my health, going to see a doctor like yourself because of something else going on, I'm really now strapped. Because, you know, a $200-300 doctor appointment with you is now going to be in addition to what it is that I'm paying my insurance for. So we're understanding the battle and the frustration that everybody is. And I think what this New Vision Tour is all about, and what James is talking about, is, hey, there is something else out there. If we all kind of come together, there is another option.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. That seems to be where he's kind of had this vision and said, we can do this in the wellness world, and we can create a lower monthly cost, basically, so that you have money freed up to go do exactly what you would want to do to make yourself stay well or become more well from where you're at, so that we don't have to go and use our insurance very much at all. You know,
and what we're offering is
Yeah.
that insurance companies and everybody else is going
Yeah.
to start seeing that it costs less
Yeah.
in the end. If we're taking, I mean, if you're maintaining your car all the time and doing all of the upkeep that it's going to need to drive properly,
Yes.
you're never going to have to invest a large amount of money in it. And that's right now the way that we're going about society is we're not even aware or conscious of how it is that we're going about in our everyday life. And then all of a sudden, bam, we have a heart attack.
Right. Yeah. And that's what we see all the
attack.
time. That's right. Expensive. Because the current system is not wellness care, right? It's sick care.
Right.
So it waits for you to get sick. And then it's like, oh, now I'll kick in for you. It still doesn't, you still have to pay even for sick care. But if you would have done the well care before and it would have had, you would have been incentivized for that through a different insurance, or then we wouldn't have gotten to that point, right? So,
right.
Yeah, it's totally taking back to look at something different. And we all know that, I mean, I can tell, honestly, because as I started this, the insurance companies just were after me because they knew what I was doing was not sick care. And so they really didn't like that. So.
I love having these conversations with doctors because these are the conversations. This is the thing. These are the things we don't know about.
Right. You're right. You're totally right.
The average person is going out there frustrated because they're paying this amount of money for insurance, frustrated because they're still not feeling good.
Right. Right.
Frustrated in so many other areas, and then they're going to talk to a doctor who wants to charge me that much money to come in.
That's right.
Like, who do you think you are?
I know. Yeah. So I know it's a lot to handle when you see the system. As a patient, you're like, well, why is this the way it is? And unfortunately, a lot of the patients I see, they've been in that world. Believe me, they've seen that endocrinologist, they've seen the GI doctor, they've seen the other primary cares, they've seen them, they've tried it, but they still don't feel well. And so they're willing then at that point to take another look at things in a different way. Right. And once that happens, typically we have a lot more success. But yeah, it's just a shame that, unfortunately they're, pushed into that traditional model first. So
yeah. Well, I think what I'm wanting to encourage people to do is this is an opportunity if you're frustrated with the system and how it's working right now. On September 18th at why can I not remember the name? Global Brew in Rock Hill.
Brew. Yeah, that's right.
Brew in Rock Hill is where we will be hosting this event. SymBowl, we will be bringing in food. So your ticket is going to cover your meal for that evening as well. Wow. You're going to have an opportunity to listen to these doctors, hear their frustrations, listen to some patients, hear their frustrations, and have James mention and talk about what this new healthcare system is that he is trying to put into place that I think becomes the win-win situation for all. So this is an opportunity to just kind of come together, unite, and speak your voice, be heard a little bit, and have some fun at the same time. I'm always asking a doctor when I talk to them, how does food play a role in your health?
Food is medicine, right?
Well, you just took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh, darn it, sorry.
You're good. I'd much rather a doctor take those words than me say it.
Yeah.
I just sound like I am
That's more
I know
rare.
what I'm talking about then.
That's right. I was gonna say it's more rare that happens. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
No, it's that's where we start lots of times, obviously. So when you're fatigued and hormones aren't right or whatever is right, we start back at that, that gut and really at that traditional what food are you putting in? Where's our nutrition? Let's go back and almost back it up to each cell and figure out how those are working or not working, because that has to have the right fuel. And so if we're doing something wrong from the get-go, we've got to start there and then trace back. So yeah, as you know.
Well, and what many don't know is that when we opened up SymBowl, we were Nothing has changed for the most part. Our recipes are cooking. Everything has been the exact same since we opened. If you would have asked us 7 years ago about integrative and functional medicine, I would have had no clue who you were talking about or what you were talking about. All we knew was that we were cooking clean, simple food.
Oh, that's so funny.
Did you know? Yeah, so that's what we were doing. And then in the last few years, started identifying where are all of these people coming from,
Right.
and why do we keep hearing about autoimmune and nightshades and all this? So we kind of morphed in the direction that you guys have been leading.
Right.
And
That's perfect.
And then this is an avenue that we have taken on to help educate and inform people, because we're so much in alignment. We're doing the exact same things. I like saying that if food is your medicine, SymBowl is your pharmacy. So we've got you covered when it comes to where your doctor should be sending you for your scripts.
That's right. I do have people like, they have freezer meals. They have this. Go get it. You know, so yeah, that's right.
Chris, can you tell us again, how can people reach you? And then in the we're going to go ahead and just kind of wrap everything up. In the comments, if you can then also make sure that a link is connected, and I will also make sure that the link is connected to the event, so that if people don't have their tickets yet, they can go there and get that. But go ahead and let people know where they can find your information.
Sure. I mean, our website is RevitaLifeWellness.com, and they have the phone number on there, which and also like a contact us link on there as well through the website, and then we would email you back, call you, whatever, very quickly, just to kind of tell you how it works in the office, how to be a patient, what we do, see if it's actually what you're, wanting, looking for. But the website has a very good, comprehensive kind of approach to what we do as well. So, but yeah, I'll put it in the link. But yes, RevitaLifeWellness.com, RevitaLife wellness.com. So
that's a lot of letters.
Yeah, it's a lot of.
Yeah, I know it's a bit of time. Thank you again for joining me. I'd love to figure out a topic specifically when it comes to health.
Okay.
That we tackle. I know you kind of got asked to come into this because we wanted to talk about the healthcare and insurance specifically. Right. The great interview. I hope those of you that are listening got some value and kind of saw it from another perspective. Yeah. So thank you for joining us today on Functional Friday.
Okay, thank you so much.
You are welcome. Join us on September 18th at, what was the name of the place again?
Global Brew.
Global Brew in Rock Hill.
Global
Brew in Rock Hill. SymBowl will have food there. Global Brew will be a glass of wine. This is healthy in the form of, you got to be so strict. You can't do, and nobody's going to judge you, because I'll have a beer on that night, I'm sure of it. For more information, you can always follow us on mySymBowl.com. All of these interviews are archived for you to go back to and get information from all of the doctors in the area that we interview and collaborate with. So we hope to see you on the 18th. And until next time, we'll talk to you then.
Thank you.